Meeting will come to order. Ms. Gore, we call the roll.
Ms. Conley. Present. Dr. Diop.
Present.
Mr. Benjamin.
Present.
Mr. Dunn.
Present.
Ms. Williams. Present.
Thank you. We all please stand for the pledge in a moment of silence. Ms. Williams, I'm going to ask you if you will lead us in our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Ms. Gore, are there any citizens' comments? Okay, thank you. We will move to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Viock, second by Ms. Conley. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes. We'll move to reports. Chairman report. I'll be very brief today. One, I would just like to thank our staff for today in doing yeoman's work in educating our children. I know it was a very, very difficult day, and so I appreciate who you are, what you do, our staff, our teachers. So thank you for responding to the bell today and doing what you're called to do. That says a lot about who you are. And it's not surprising to me, but walking the halls and seeing you at work says a lot about who you are. So I really appreciate you all. We obviously we're in a day, honestly, of remembering Jeff Mayo and his sudden passing for all of us. His sudden sickness and his sudden death have affected us all many in different ways. Many in deep grief, many in shock and surprise, and another myriad of emotions that run and will continue to run. I'm thankful for a group of pastors who came today to meet at our schools that were willing to give their time to spend with people that just wanted to talk or to pray or whatever they wanted to do, whatever was asked of our pastors. I really appreciate that. Reverend Dunn, myself, and a couple of our pastor friends in the community came and visited schools to do that with people. We had some people from the state that came. I can't remember the name of that organization. What's the name of that organization?
The Employee Assistance Program.
Employee Assistance Program.
Concern.
Yeah, and so they had some people that came today to meet with anybody that needed to. And again, I'm very thankful for people responding to support our teachers and staff. What I want to do at this moment is to take that just a moment and ask you, board, if there's something that you'd love to, if you want to say, or if you have comments that you might want to make about Mr. Mayo, just in a few passing comments or a few fleeting comments here while we're together. We'll give you that opportunity.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would just like to say that I'm so appreciative of all the years that I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Mayo, whether in Shelby County Schools or in Arlington Community Schools. He was such a forward thinker, and I think that as bad as we miss him, he has left us in a good place and quite a legacy and big shoes to fill. And I'm just grateful for my time that our lives crossed together.
Thank you, Ms. Conley. Anyone else on the board?
I'll just share that the 2 years that I was able to serve with Jeff and get to know him, he was a relentless worker, and somebody who's working all the time. He seemed to genuinely care for wanting to do everything he could for the people in this district. the faculty, the teachers, administration, as well as these kids. And even in the last leadership decisions he made as we built the budget for this year, how he wanted to make sure his teachers were taken care of, the principals, the leadership he attracted. I don't know, just watching him work and some of those things as we sit here today, as you said, Lyle, I feel the same way. I'm very grateful for what he did and where we grieve, but we also are grateful for what he's done and who he is. When we got out of town and we go to conferences from time to time, and he could pull away from work, he was a lot of fun. We laughed a lot, had a lot of good times together, but we'll definitely miss him, love him and Gail and his daughter, Grace, and praying for them, for sure.
I can just say that I had the privilege to work with him too in Shelby County Schools as well as in Arlington, and I had the very great pleasure of working under two superintendents, or worked with them. Tammy Mason, who is here, grateful to see her here and brings back many great memories. Jeff was an outstanding leader, and he was such a good person. He even went to a concert with me. Can you believe that? And it was a 60s concert. And so he didn't even know who they were. But we're going to miss him. And we loved him and respected him just like we do Tammy, because they both started this district together and they worked so hard together and so closely. They were an absolutely amazing team. And my heart goes out to Gail and to Jim, because this is a really tough time for them. And we're praying for them. And I assure you, we won't forget about Jeff. He will always be in our hearts, just like Miss Mason is still in our house, because she's still here, thank goodness. We love you, Jeff.
I'll just say, one of the most impressionable things about Jeff before I even knew him, we literally, Tammy and I sat down in some back office in the high school, and she signed her contract, and I said, well, what are you gonna do now? She said, well, I already have the first person I'm gonna hire. And that was Mayo. And been 11 years, he's been a good friend to me. Far too young. This doesn't seem fair at all. And it's been my honor to be his friend. We just need to wrap Gail and his daughter in prayers and in whatever help they need. We need to make sure that happens. And I was very encouraged today, as the Chairman Benjamin was, that the work went on and it was good work. The kids never knew a thing, which is, it's good. So, miss you, buddy.
Yeah, it was, in sitting in the chairman's seat, you get an opportunity to work with superintendents a little bit closer during that year. And it is, I was super impressed with Jeff's work ethic. He was always working. Always doing, always thinking, always thinking about things that were going on. And I appreciated his desire for ACS to be tops in what we are, what we do and what we did, and our people to be tops at what they do. And so I learned a lot from that expectation of excellence, and I'm glad I got to spend some time with him. We'll miss him a lot. A lot.
Good evening. We have received several emails from educators across the state of Tennessee sharing their condolences to this district. It's amazing, as he's impacted so many people in our district, because he's hired several of us right beside Miss Mason, and we've had two great superintendents here in this district. And not only did he hire several in Arlington Community Schools, He hired them in the legacy Shelby County schools, and he made so many connections with these people that have been so impactful on generations of students and families. And lots of people also in emails, former employees as well as leaders across the state, shared the same sentiments about the impact he made on their career and believing in them. And I'm truly grateful for that, and I know all of us are. And we'll always remember him because he made a profound impact on us.
We want to give you an opportunity. If you want to say something about Mr. Mayo, we wanted to give you that opportunity as well while we're here tonight. So you're welcome to stand if you want to speak, or you're welcome to come to the podium and speak if you would like to. Feel no obligation.
We'll go from here. Mine's gonna be real short, because Jeff and I go back with Dale and family all the way back to Delview, Arlington, and we went to the church at the high school. So that's been over 15 years, and let me tell you, he was Jeff Mayo in church, just like he is when he's out here at this board meeting.
Yeah, you'll hear it on the you'll hear it on the live stream that way.
Well, I know that tonight was supposed to be under different circumstances, so on behalf of the town, I know I reached out to several up here already, but I haven't been able to reach out to all the principals and teachers. But on behalf of the town, we are here for y'all. If anything we can do, any way to celebrate, any way we can do to help accommodate you all, we're here. It's funny, I went to a different high school football game the other night. Sorry, I wasn't at the Arlington one. But I was talking to the superintendent there, and I was talking to Mr. Akin. And we were kind of reflecting on the time when, I was on the school board with Akin, and then the time when we created the schools. And the same conversation then is the same conversation that we have now. Mr. Akin got hired in Collierville. We hired Miss Mason. Our first hire was Jeff Mayo. And I remember him calling me saying, "Why are you stealing all my good people?" So because when Mayo came in, everybody thought Mayo was going to go with John to Collierville. And so with him came all of y'all. That's where he got to start picking and choosing. So the work that he laid 10 plus years ago, is what's shown up in this district. So on behalf of the town, we appreciate you all, and we mourn with you all too.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. That concludes my report for the evening. We'll move to superintendent's report.
No report for tonight.
Okay. And none from your staff, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I'll move to financial reports. Okay. We have some on the agenda. Thank you. Legislative liaison, Mr. Dunn.
Well, the only comments I have will hold to the end as we look at the resolutions we have before us today.
All right, thank you. We'll move to consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Conley, and second by Dr. Biox. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion passes. We'll move ahead to our business recommended items. Dr. Clark.
Yes, on Resolution 2024-22 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education advocating the legislative initiatives for the 114th General Assembly. I do believe that, Mr. Dunn, you would like to share some information on that, or?
Before we do, let's have we'll need a motion on the floor before we talk about it.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Dr. Biox, second by Ms. Conley. Any discussion? Mr. Dunn.
Well, this one, the first one we have in front of us, is the one where we're looking at something that a lot of the other districts are in favor of as well. and this is regarding the funding, and specific to the funding that we're providing, we're asking for the state to honor and through the TISA funding. And would you like for me to read this resolution?
That's fine. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll read it from the top. Whereas the Arlington Community School Board of Education believes that the school boards across the state of Tennessee have an obligation to advocate for public education, and whereas the Arlington Community School Board of Education believes that it is the obligation of each school board in the state of Tennessee to advocate for public education and express that advocacy to the members of the Tennessee General Assembly. And whereas ACS is a member of the Tennessee School Boards Association, TSBA, which advocates on behalf of Tennessee public education, and whereas TSBA invites its members to submit resolutions for legislative advocacy, which will be submitted at TSBA's Delegate Assembly at TSBA's annual convention in November of each year. And whereas ACS wishes to submit this resolution as its proposal to TSBA's Delegate Assembly at TSBA's annual convention in November 2024, and whereas ACS hereby advocates for funding via the TISA funding formula for the mandated preschool programs for special education students and their typical peers who are required to be included in said preschool programs. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to amend TCA 49-3-103 to provide funding via the TISA funding formula for mandated preschool programs for special education students and their typical peers who are required to be included in said preschool programs. And that's the resolution.
Okay.
As we had before.
Any questions, comments about this resolution?
Just one question. I do know that several municipalities are trying to get this accomplished too. Are we gonna go in with them, or are we just gonna go ahead and just do our own resolution, which is fine with me? I mean, I'm just asking a question.
It seems to me from the communication I've heard from the other districts that they too are passing a resolution
Right.
just as we are, and that it's a joint effort.
Great,
Yeah.
terrific. That gives it more meat, you know, just gives it more,
Yeah.
yeah, good.
Absolutely.
May I add, the way that'll actually work and Mr. Benjamin will be for his first one this year. This comes before the TSBA Board of Directors, and we spend a whole day going through all the resolutions. If there are some that are similar, they'll be grouped together.
Right.
They will take all the like language from each ones and condense it, but any additional language, say that a different district wanted in there, we will compile it and make a single resolution. So they will sort of streamline that, but everybody's voice will be heard, and that if there's any different language, that'll be included as well. And Mr. Benjamin will have an opportunity to vote on that one in September, actually, so.
Yep. Good. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it and the motion passes. Dr. Clark.
The next one is 7B, recommendation for the resolution 2024-23 of Arlington Community Schools Board of Education advocating for legislative initiatives for the 114th General Assembly.
Hang on.
Yep.
So would you, actually, what I probably need you to do, Dr. Clark, is
Yes,
put that
sir.
in the form of a motion, so to approve.
To approve that, yes,
If
please.
you will state that, that would be helpful.
I'd like to make a motion to approve that resolution.
Okay. I do have a motion and so we have a motion. You've heard, here's where we'll go. Sorry. For the recommendation, you don't make a motion. You've heard, made
Right.
a recommendation.
I make a
Sorry.
recommendation.
My gracious. A lot swirling around up here. You've made a recommendation. Sorry. Do I have a motion to approve the recommendation, Superintendent? Motion by Dr. Viak, second by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? There we go.
Mr. Dunn, would you like to summarize that?
Well, this is one that's been getting quite a bit of attention as of late regarding the Families' Rights and Responsibilities Act, the FRRA. And it's a resolution that we, in our discussion with council, as well as just as a board and as a team, is something we're pretty passionate about, of needing clarity around something that's created a lot of confusion. So this is one I wholeheartedly believe in, and I would like to read that to you. So ACS Resolution 2024-23, Whereas the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education believes that the school boards across the state of Tennessee have an obligation to advocate for public education, and whereas the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education believes that it's in the obligation of each school board in the state of Tennessee to advocate for public education and express advocacy to the members of the Tennessee General Assembly, and whereas ACS is a member of the Tennessee School Boards Association, which advocates on behalf of Tennessee public education, and whereas TSBA invites its members to submit resolutions for legislative advocacy, which will be submitted at TSBA's Delegate Assembly at TSBA's annual convention in November of each year, and whereas ACS wishes to submit this resolution as its proposal to TSBA's Delegate Assembly at TSBA's annual convention in November 2024, and whereas ACS advocates for the adoption of legislation which, and I'm going to mess this word up, Valerie, thanks for this, ameliorates the negative impacts on Tennessee school districts and their students and families of Public Chapter 1061, the Families' Rights and Responsibilities Act, FRRA. And whereas the FRRA's provision requiring that parents make all physical health care decisions for their child has created a requirement that parents either consent to such health care or face the consequence that their child will be denied health care services that are essential to their child's well-being. Additionally, said provision is causing school nurses to fear the loss of their nursing license if they render care as minor as placing an ice pack on a student without the consent of a parent. Some of the other concerns of school nurses since this law has become effective are as follows. One, nurses have reported that they were usually able to treat a child in a matter of minutes in the school clinic, but now time has been materially extended to determine if consent has been given or if consent can be obtained. Two, lost instructional time in the classroom is occurring because students are sitting in a clinic without treatment, waiting for consent from a parent or for their parent to come get them. Three, nurses have reported that if a parent declines consent or does not answer the phone to obtain consent, medical situations could progress to an emergency while nurses are chasing down consent. Nurses are concerned this could be considered to be medical neglect or neglect on the part of the school district. And four, the FRRA seems to conflict with TCA 63-7-103, practice of professional nursing and professional nursing law. This conflict places nurses in position of having to choose which law to violate, and whereas presently the FRRA's provision requiring that school districts excuse students from attendance from school for religious purposes will cause students to miss classes and place them in chronically absent classification, and whereas school counselors, school psychologists, and school districts are unclear as to whether the FRRA's provision requiring consent prior to rendering counseling services and psychological services applies to them. Thus, clarification in this portion of the FRRA is needed. And whereas the FRRA is unclear and ambiguous about what is meant by the parent's right to direct the education of their child, and whereas the FRRA's provision requiring consent before any government entity makes a video or voice recording of a child is impractical. Examples of even routine matters, which will be comprised of instructors/coaches, must obtain consent before video or audio taping students or filming rehearsals or sports and fine arts programs, filming or audio taping students to assist students in their understanding of curriculum, school speech therapists, filming or audio taping students to help students gain speech skills, etc. Requiring instructors and coaches to obtain consent for routine circumstances is impractical and time-consuming. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to amend Public Chapter 1016, the Families' Rights and Responsibilities Act, FRRA, to allow school nurses and other health care professionals to provide routine medical care, such as treating minor injuries without requiring parental consent, ensuring that students receive essential health care promptly, and that school nurses and healthcare professionals are not placed at risk of violating their respective professional standards. And be it further resolved that the Arlington Community School Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to amend the FRRA to eliminate ambiguities and impractical requirements related to student attendance, counseling and psychological services, and the recording of students for extracurricular and educational purposes, ensuring that these provisions do not hinder the effective operation of schools or the well-being of students, and be it further resolved that the Arlington Community School Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to amend the FRRA to eliminate ambiguities and arbitrary meanings of the phrase "right to direct the education of their child" contained in the FRRA on this 27th of August, 2024.
Yeah, thanks for reading that. That's a lot, and I would agree with that. I think this is something I would wholeheartedly support as well.
Yeah.
Any discussions around this at all from the board?
Well, just that our coordinated school health expert, Miss Dana Viox, certainly understands why we cannot support this. And as a former principal, I can just see us trying to get a hold of a parent and not getting a hold of that parent in time if this child really needs something immediately. You know,
It's already
just
happened,
sometimes
right?
it's just.
Already happened some.
It's just very simple. But there's times when we cannot get a parent on the phone to get them to come when a child has 103 fever. So, I mean, you know, that's kind of scary. So this could be really, really hurtful to our district. And I certainly agree with our resolution.
In my understanding, Mr. Dunn, this is really about just further clarification around some language in there. Isn't that what some of this is saying?
Yes, and as I've described to some parents, we understand this as parents, when having children ourselves in the school district, some of us. We all want to take care of our children, make sure they're protected, but then trust is hard to come by nowadays, and people are legitimately concerned about some things. And so clarity, transparency is key. But what I've shared with them is that the hopes of this is to push this back to the Tennessee General Assembly.
Right.
And say, you guys have created this mess. We want for you to iron this out to where it's easier for us as a school district and parents to partner together to care for kids, educate kids, and for them to be safe. And so we all want the same thing. That's what we're asking for. That's it.
Good.
They have a lot of ease in muddling things up for us.
This is true.
The heart of the legislation was in the right spot. The legislators were trying to do a good thing, and it just really is poorly written and ambiguous, and has created a great deal of chaos, not just here, but across the state. So they should take it upon themselves to clean up their mess, hopefully.
Yeah. All right.
From what I'm hearing, by the way, the governor is saying he is willing and wanting to do that.
I think a
It
nurse
seems
got a
like
hold
it's
of him.
becoming apparent.
I'm saying, I think a nurse got a hold of him.
You need to see a nurse after that?
I think
That's a great thing.
I think
yeah.
she talked to him pretty sternly,
That's good.
so.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, the motion passes. We will move to 7C. Doctor.
7C, my recommendation is approve the updated ESSER 3.0 funds.
You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Dunn, second by Ms. Conley. Is there any discussion? Dr. Clark, would you like to expound on that just a little bit?
This is a procedure that we have to do a standard process to approve us using those funds. Some of those funds have been allocated throughout the summer for our upcoming longevity and the bonuses that our employees will receive. Also, it will allow us to do our iPad refresh, which is around $750,000, so we'll be able to do that as well. I know that another project on the books is to, for safety purposes and visibility in the high school cafeteria, we have those blocks, and now we have seating outside, so to install clear glass so there can be monitoring and seeing accessibility there.
Good, thank you. Yeah, these were additional ESSER funds that we did not originally receive, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
we were not planning on receiving additional funds. Superintendent, we found out in May, and Superintendent Mayo recommended to Ms. Douglas to request some of these items, and one of them were the bonuses, to see if we can have that through our ESSER funds, and that's what they were approved. And that's what we're projected to do. All the expenditures have to be expended by September the 30th is the deadline So we have that.
Which is why we're needing to, honestly, in reality, is why we had to have this meeting tonight. If you're wondering why we actually had a meeting tonight, which we had considered canceling, this was because this had to be done, because this has to be spent by the 30th of September. There would have been no way to do it between our meeting and
Correct.
our end of September. So
We
I
have to-
appreciate all of you coming, and I know some of our staff for showing up even for a meeting on a day like today. But this was really the main thing that we had to get accomplished tonight, so we could spend those funds. So you've heard Dr. Clark's recommendation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion passes. One last item that we want to talk about tonight is Ms. Williams' last board meeting with us. Ms. Williams has been on the board since the inception of ACS, and we are, it's always a bittersweet time whenever we come to times like this when people choose to step away. And but for 10 years of this, you spent a lot of time and effort, Ms. Williams, in serving on this board for sure. We also made the decision to move a celebration for Ms. Williams to our next month's board meeting in light of our circumstances that we're in today. And so we will certainly be celebrating the time that Ms. Williams has spent with us next month. Ms. Williams, would you like to say anything?
Just that we'll be celebrating Miss Courtney Barnes taking over too on our next
Yes.
meeting. So that will be an exceptional, and I'm just so thrilled that she's willing to step up and serve. And she's a fine person. You're going to really like her a lot.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Ms. Williams. We certainly appreciate you and all the years that you have.
Thank you, Scott. Been my pleasure,
Awesome.
sometimes.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, and anything else, board, before we adjourn tonight? All right, and with that, we are adjourned.
Anytime you get elected, it's quite a feat. I mean, these people have been there, and it's quite it's an honor to be able to go out and serve the community. It's a privilege, and it's also putting yourself out there. So I applaud every one of these, the elected officials in our room. I know we have Vice Mayor McKee and Alderman Biggs here on behalf of the town also. And just we welcome you all to the community and look forward to working with you all as we help this town, the schools grow, the town grow, and prosper. So we're looking very forward to that. I'm not going to read this whole thing. So I'm just going to read this first paragraph and have you do it, and then that'll make it official, and then we will do it. So if you want to face me and repeat after me, I'll try to read it in little phrases, and then we'll get you swearing in. I, Lyle Conley, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Tennessee,
The Constitution of the State of Tennessee
and the Charter of the City of Arlington,
and the Charter of the City of Arlington,
and that as a school board member
and as a school board member
of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education,
of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education,
I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office to which I have been elected
of the office to which I have been elected
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
You are good. Sign this in a minute. We'll sign it in just a minute.
I'm not gonna be that easy, Mike.
You come over here. Come on over here. Yeah, you will. Yeah. I had the privilege of speaking to a group of realtors the other day, and when I was there, it was her group of realtors out in Germantown, and so I made sure I threw her name out there several times about being one of those dreadful politicians now. So she can't hide from it anymore. So if you face me and repeat after me, I, Courtney Barnes, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and uphold
that I will support, obey, and uphold
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Tennessee,
the Constitution of the State of Tennessee,
and the Charter of the City of Arlington,
and the Charter of the City of Arlington,
and that as a school board member
and that as a school board member
of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education,
of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education,
I will faithfully discharge
I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I have been elected
to which I have been elected
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I know that means a lot to you. Congratulations. God bless. I have to do some weddings sometimes. I almost said you may now kiss the bride. I was getting confused there for a minute. Congratulations. I know, it would, the Daily Olympian's right there. But no, thank you all. And is there anything?
Thank you, Mayor, for coming to do that. We appreciate you standing in to do this for us today. And with that, we are dismissed.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thank you. Did a good job. All right.